What is happening, everybody, man? Thank you guys tuning in another episode of the One Big Fire podcast. We got all the boys in the house today, and I'm really, really excited to be able to jump into definitely the hot topic on the news coming out from yesterday. And before we jump in, I wanted to share something with you guys and just kind of think, because I think it's going to kind of lead into kind of understanding moves and thoughts and kind of where we need to be and what we need to be thinking about for ourselves and our businesses moving into the future. I picked up something last March, and I forget where I pulled it out of. I was reading something this morning from, I've got all the OG, newsletters and emails coming in from all the marketing OGs. Perry Marshall had sent over something I clicked on and read this morning. I've been reading his stuff quite a bit lately, and maybe kind of go back and pull out the note. And like I said, I can't remember where I pulled it from, but it talked about growth mindset, a must moving forward. And this was from March of last year. And it said, the three things that we have to be paying attention to moving into the future. And it kind of prefaced the thing is that you need to focus on, if you had to grow by 20% year over year, how would you do it? Right. So start to program yourself in that kind of that thought process. If you had to, how would you do it? But it talked about, from a growth mindset, there's three things. Number one, continually innovate and evolve your products and services. So I take Jay Abraham's definition of innovation, and that just means add more value. So how do you continue to add more value to your services, your products, your offers, and continue to make the offer even more irresistible? Number two, have a strong, defensible business model. Basically, put a moat around your business. That's the number two most important thing to be thinking about moving into the future. And I'm gonna come back around to Perry's message, and it's gonna hit on the number 2 point. Number three is, and this is what we have to, and this is taking this into perspective, kind of the story you shared right before we jumped in. Now, use a tough market to break away from the pack. So, like, we're all experiencing a tough market. Like, lean into it. Like, thank you, I've got this. This is going to help me be even more competitive. I'm going to lean into this tough market. It's going to help me separate from the pack. So those are the top three things. Like this was March of last year. So I was reading this with Perry this morning, and he kicked off the whole email, and he said, one question you must ask yourself when starting any company, and I would say start or continue to maintain or grow any company, is, what kind of moat can we build around this? What kind of moat can we build around this business? And then in the next sentence, he goes, for the next 18 months, the width and the depth of your moat will determine if you survive or if you get overrun. The next 18 months, the width and the depth of your moat. And if you take back to the second bullet point of the moat, is a strong, defensible business model. So continuing to dive in and continue to tweak on the business model. We know we have one of the best business models platforms that we're plugged into in the entire real estate industry, in the entire space. And so how is your business within this model to continue to make the moat for you even wider and deeper? So it was just really interesting how, kind of thinking about that going into today's conversation about the news that unfolded yesterday with KW's move.
Ooh, I like where we're going with this.
So you sent over right before you went right into Grok 3, and you just started dumping and having a conversation. I would love for you to just kind of unpack and what we're seeing and what we're hearing and kind of what we're thinking about why the move was made with KW.
Yeah. I think I learned a lot from Grok. He's quite knowledgeable. And he laid out all the likely, direction and things that they're doing. We'll talk through some of that, but, I think that is, the direction they're going is, the obvious thing that's happening is Gary's taking some chips off the table, as he should. That's kudos to him. I think it's also, probably somewhat of a waving of the white flag, in we are a tech company. I think that, that's been a lot of his personal wealth invested into trying to build command and the challenges of building tech versus partnering or buying tech as an option. The alignment with CoreLogic with this, the Stone Point Capital and their ability to leverage, the data, to be hyper local and integrate that into command and some things are they're good plays on Stone Point's, side too as well. They learned a lesson, and when they invested into, I think it was Homes Point.
Homelight. No, it wasn't Homelight. It was I saw that too. It was
the mortgage company they invested in, and they invested at the peak of all refinances, and they just couldn't. The valuation at the time they entered was with the wrong timing, probably. And so I think the timing of making this investment from their perspective, it's likely all upside because they're getting in at the third year of the slowest year in real estate that we've had since 95. So I think their timing of making the investment makes a lot of sense for a 5 to 10 year IPO, or sooner. I think that's whether they're going to be able to actually, I think the thing in real estate that is difficult to do is to increase productivity per agent. I mean, no matter what you do, there's just a large number of people that don't do anything. And so you can provide all the tools, all the data, all the pizzazz, but integrating that into, an agent's daily workflow is super difficult. So, they're going to get a natural increase in valuation just from the uptick of the market over the next 5 years. So that all makes sense. So to me, the whole move makes sense, from their position, from Gary's position, the strategic alignment, but it's also, it's like trying to put new tires on a Volkswagen, right? I mean, it's a legacy model. You remember, we had, our old mentor that we used to have, HOA, John, and one of the smartest people ever. Brilliant dude, brilliant, and wicked smart in so many ways. And he always made a comment that he said that disruption in the brokerage industry will come from it won't be, you can't innovate on your current legacy model of franchise, for instance. You can't innovate out of that. So they've learned that they can't compete with the cloud-based models, us being the biggest, and that they're getting murdered. They're getting killed by us in terms of, recruiting agents from Keller Williams over to this cloud-based model. It's better in so many ways, and they can't compete with that. So they can only go deeper in their own legacy model and try to improve franchisees, recruiting systems, productivity per agent, give them better tools. But they're really on a sinking ship as it relates to the future of real estate being, a tech-enabled or tech-focused brokerage, cloud-based. The efficiencies that are gained by that allow you to just do things others they're never going to be able to do. And so, so that, it's, on one hand, I understand why they did it. Probably the best move they could have made. On the other hand, they're organizing chairs on the Titanic is kind of the viewpoint I take on it.
Yeah. Hey, Al, so we come from, the Realogy, Coldwell Banker world. You had RE/MAX experience, and talked to one of our rockstar honey badgers yesterday that took a meeting with RE/MAX just to hear the pitch, right? Was kind of curious with the pitch, and they got the Pepsi balloon now, and just kind of seeing what their value proposition was and what they could offer, and looked at kind of split structures, and based upon he's a solo agent, based upon his production, he would have given 60 to 70,000 a year to RE/MAX, and what they were trying to say is that, you would have got an extra couple 100,000 uptick by being at RE/MAX. He's like, how? Like, show me how I would make a couple extra 100,000 off of being at RE/MAX. He said, well, the brand is going to bring that to you. He's like, are you kidding me? Like, seriously, are you kidding? I mean, is that what you're telling me, that the brand is going to get me a couple extra 100,000? He goes, have you seen my social media? EXP is nowhere on my social media. It's me. I'm the brand. So how is that going to help? It was just fascinating at what they were saying. What is kind of, as you see this with the legacy brands and the moves, like, you have that, that experience. And I mean, you talk to as many agents as we do on a day in and day out basis. I mean, what are you kind of thinking from a legacy perspective that they're going to do?
So I did just a little. I mean, I have no clue. Nobody knows the crystal ball. We do know this. Keller Williams has, been able to stay in the game partially because of Gary Keller. He's a badass. I mean, he is a force in our industry, an innovator, and he just wasn't able to pivot when he needed to pivot with this last big change of the cloud-based brokerage coming. But he's hung on. So the question becomes this: in 2013, Remax went public. Dave Lineker said, "All right, it's time." He didn't probably know how many years he had. I mean, he's run into bad health even when I was there multiple times. He's not getting younger. And so he cashed out and went public in 2013. Now they had 92,000 agents. They have 52,000 agents. That's a 44% or whatever it is drop in agent count since they went public. Is that going to be the same of what we see with Keller Williams? I don't think so, because I think one thing that Keller nailed that Remax didn't was culture. And all my Remax friends out there are going to disagree with me, but I lived it. And I witnessed from across the hall what Keller Williams did. I mean, they really, the one thing, Gary, I feel he nailed was culture. I mean, everyone talked about the Kool-Aid. When you hear Kool-Aid, that means their culture's just rich. People are bought into the vision. They're bought into the leader. And of course, they've had issues. They can't keep, C-level executives around long. And that's probably attributed to Gary's hubris that's grown. It's only grown, I believe, over the years of this, there's a sense of arrogance there. And I say that with a lot of respect, because you can't not respect Gary Keller. At the same time, that hubris, I believe, has caused, them to stop growing. And we will see what happens. If, Remax, they are continuing to struggle. Even from last year, I believe they're down 7% in agent count. Their agent count keeps just dwindling.
Yeah. And
is that going to happen with Keller? I don't think at the level that we saw Remax. And I think the reason is because of, I think on average, when you look at a Remax franchise, at least in the Cleveland area, there's a lot of little mom and pop, maybe 20 agent Remax offices, right? You don't see 20 agent Keller Williams offices often. Usually they're pretty, 80 to 100, sometimes 300-400. I mean, they grew these market centers more sustainably with more agents, even though majority of them don't sell a whole lot of real estate. That is a big difference between Remax because of the fee, but Remax caved. I mean, very little Remax brokers I know actually charge the desk fee. Only the top agents pay that desk fee. Everyone else is on a split.
Yeah.
A traditional split. So they've kind of broken away from their old model just to survive. Remax offices are closing. We just helped close one in Charleston with Caleb and Caleb and JD. And what did they do? They find another broker owner to take over the franchise, make a deal with them, and that has not worked for them. On the surface, it may look like, the office didn't close. See, it's still open. But truthfully, the production's gone, so there's nothing to sustain it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't see Gary sitting in the CEO or seat or bouncing back and forth, because he was bouncing back and forth from CEO to whatever he was.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what pans out.
There's a lot of indicators, even on both sides, right? Even you see Remax, they have a lot of turnover in the leadership in leadership, and even at the top. So, I mean, that's a lot of telltale signs when you're seeing, there's a lot of leadership movement. It's like you look at, like NFL organizations, when you see a lot of turnover in the coaching, head coaching or GM roles, what does that tell you, right? There's some dysfunction going on within the entire organization. So those are some behaviors, some signs there to kind of pay attention to. The one thing, that what are some things that we can pull out of this that can be like, hey, this is probably a good move. And I think you were talking about it a little bit with CoreLogic. And, what could that mean for us? Where to pay attention to if we know, hey, this is probably their chess moves. This is probably how they're going to move across the board. Where can we kind of take and say, that's a good idea. We need to be paying attention to that as well.
Yeah, definitely the data. Leveraging, local, hyper local data is, putting that in the hands, that's, we would go to outside sources for all of that, all of those things, but having that baked into your technology, it's probably on our roadmap at this point, I would imagine, but, we did the right thing by partnering with tech, at least initially. And so, kind of the next move will, need to be somewhere in us, leveraging data and integrating it into tech and just be, arming the agents with the best information to differentiate us from other agents. And that's what KW is going to, that is what they're going to do. But that's going to be the thing that we'll have to do to maintain, relevant, as I think we're already in a place where we provide the best world-class training of agents. We've taken that from them. That used to be Keller Williams.
Used to be KW. For sure.
Yeah, I think we've taken that from them, the spot for that. And now it's at scale. I mean, it's the stuff we're doing, dude. Like, I don't know how much you guys weren't at that meeting we had last week, but you saw the notes and listened to it. But the team leader training that they're rolling out for teams at EXP is EOS. It's what we used to coach and train every single agent to for years. They're doing it every 6 weeks for teams. Like that level of from a company, it's not being done. And so the fast cap program, like the things that we're rolling out at scale for every agent to take advantage of, in terms of odds of being successful or not, it is world class.
Yeah.
And so I think we have a position there, and again, I think obviously we're super profitable as it relates to, the overall cost structure of our business model versus the legacy models. And that gives us the ability to bring on better people and run these business units and really execute at a super high level and very relevant. And so that's great. That next piece is going to be competing on who has the best data and information, which in this day and age, the speed of things, that landscape changes every day. And I think opportunity for us is going to be,
Jade, you think, so you say it's data. I don't disagree, but isn't it going to be really a combination of data, the race for data and AI? Who has the most powerful AI? In 5 years, I don't know what our industry is going to look like in 5 years. It's not going to look like this because AI is moving so fast. What is it going to replace? What software is AI going to replace with all these real estate brokerages and their models? What we, and anybody that's cloud-based that operates as one unit, not franchised out, has a huge advantage. Those franchise owners are only required to abide by what's in the franchise agreement. Beyond that, they can operate kind of independently. One EXP office, one Keller Williams office over here in Westlake does not operate the same one that operates down there in Medina, that doesn't operate. They can make their own splits. They can put a franchise, they can charge a transaction fee or not charge a transaction fee. They can it's all over the place. There isn't a consistent model. So how with AI growing at such a rapid, I can't even imagine what it's going to look like in 5 years.
Yeah, they're going to, I would imagine they're going to change that. So, it is, and I don't know what all they have the ability to do, but Grok did point out that making changes to the franchise agreements is something that they would likely do. And so to me, like we just recruited a KW agent, 100 plus transaction producer, and in a little town of 6,000 in Texas with a 28,000 cap. That's crazy. Like 28,000 plus the royalties. So that's not a competitive advantage. You're going to, like if you allow all your franchisees to do whatever they want, it's just, it's going to be difficult to compete when you have, these people over here, we're losing agents over here. Why? Well, because they're doing, $28,000 caps in a market that it doesn't support that. Yeah. And so they're going to have to change that, I would think, which is going to be, there's no money in the franchise. If you're the franchise owner of a Keller Williams, unless you have 250 agents in that office, it's not very profitable usually anyways. It's not profitable. That's what, Dave Jinks told me years ago. But, that's going to be, that's going to probably upset the apple cart a little bit. Some of these people, might be looking to get out and look to the new model. I think there's a lot of disruption that can happen when they do make those changes, because all they're trying to do is make it profitable. But that's where all this money in the model that we don't have, there's no negotiating what our cap's $16,000, our fees are the same. It's a disadvantage that they're going to have in trying to fix that.
Yeah.
There's a franchise. There's a couple KW franchises here in my town. One of them, and they have owner groups. You know how that works. They'll put together, maybe 10 to 20 investors to open up a market center. Everyone kicks in whatever. One of those owners, who's a great guy, he's part owner of the franchise, but he has his own office. So imagine all the money he's paying toward his cap that's paying for the office, the lights, the coffee, all of those things. Yet he's leasing a completely different office about a half a mile away. Now, he was able to get away with that, I believe, because he's not putting signage up or whatever, right? There's another team that's trying to open up, and they're getting they won't let them. So we can literally, if you're a team leader and you're listening to this and you come to EXP, you can open up an office pretty much anywhere you want that the state of Ohio, at least, or state of Texas allows you to. Sure, you got to go and do an application for a branch office, and it's approved every time. Easy. Now you're basically this is like giving the handles of the luggage of an entrepreneurial real estate, practitioner that wants to grow their team. Sometimes they want their own place where they build their own culture. Have police, I built an office. You guys built an office.
Yeah.
You can't do that at Keller Williams unless you get permission, because there's a franchise model. So you can't open another office 5, 6, 7 miles down the road because this person over here paid whatever it is, $80,000, whatever. I don't know how much it costs for a franchise for Keller Williams, but it blocks anyone else from opening up a Keller Williams office anywhere around there. And that's happening actually right now. So I think the more we start seeing offices being opened, brick and mortar offices by team leaders, because they want their own space to grow their own culture, have their own trainings, meetings, whatever, call nights, and the competition just can't do it because the franchise doesn't allow it. We're going to start seeing some more interest in peaking on our model.
Yeah, for sure. One of the things that kind of been thinking about just in conversations over the last few weeks as it kind of relates to your question with AI. And like I said, I can't even imagine. I think we have to take into consideration who's going to make the play at the consumer with buyers and sellers leveraging AI in their home buying and selling process. Because you got a lot of agents right now are just saying, how can I use this to help my business? Well, you got on the flip side of the coin, you've got consumers, buyers and sellers that are using AI as well to help them position their home to be able to sell, to bring the most amount of money. Buyers, how do I get into the ideal home and the ideal market and the ideal conditions? So I think that has to be taken into some considerations. I mean, imagine what Zillow, or even of us, right? Even if we flip the script to the consumer to, with AI, to be able to help them in their buying and selling process, because that's where buyers and sellers are going to go. I mean, that's just human nature, right? Behavior and where it's going to trend. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, and that factors into the future as well.
Yes, sir. Well,
exciting times.
It is exciting times, and we got some exciting things going on, here at EXP as well. With that meeting. I don't know if we're allowed to talk about that yet, Jay.
Yeah. I think we might want to give it a week or two.
Let it marinate. One thing though, and Jane, you and I were talking about this on Saturday, but Cindy sent over kind of the value stack. And I think, we've been here, 7 years, going on 8 years. And there's so much that we don't even know that EXP offers. And I would challenge all of you guys to really look under the hood of what this company is. The best way I like to say is, I feel like I'm going to a Chinese buffet, and it's just whatever I'm in the mood for today is what I'm going to get, because that's what I want and that's what I need. And I feel like EXP has built that, like you said, with the team lead structure that's teaching EOS. And I don't even know what the investment is, but I can promise you it's a fraction of what it would cost to go get an EOS implementer to implement EOS into your business. The Fast Cap program, like you look at all of these things that as teams trying to build a team, trying to build a business, trying to build a company, you're like, damn, man, how do we install the drive-through? Right? How do we get takeout? How do we get curb service? Like, it's just like, man, it's so heavy. But yet EXP is providing, they have the drive-through for you. They have takeout. They have curb service. They have all of the things that you would need. This was a really good thought exercise. I want to share this with you. And this came from Chauncey off of the Expert Mentors last week. And Chauncey was like, listen, this is how I look at any business venture and anything that I do. She goes, I imagine myself standing at a blank box that is now my business. And so when she started telling me this, cuz it made me go back to when we were getting ready to take down the space next to Texas Roadhouse in Lawton, Oklahoma, and how we took in every detail into consideration, working with Stacy, building out the plans. We want this component. What is it going to look like from the curb? What does the signage look like? And that was just really important understanding from the way Chauncey broke it down. She's like, what do you see? What's missing here? Oh, you don't need a sign. You have a signage. Oh, you're walking up to the door. What do you see? What are your business hours? Right? Like all of those little details that you have to take into consideration. And when you try to go do that on your own, it is so heavy, so hard, almost impossible. And it takes years. Whereas I feel like what EXP's done is that you can go and install all of those components right away. They have everything there for you. You want to bring on new agents? Great. Make them go through the Fast Cap program, right? You're building a team, get into the team lead production at a fraction of the cost in the investment, install EOS into your business. It's just absolutely remarkable. And then if you have the opportunity to play in the luxury market, I think EXP Luxury is one of the best looks and feels of any brokerage, any company out there. It is so good. The luxury stuff that EXP has is so good. Yeah. That it's really remarkable of what they've been able to do just since we've been here over the last 7-8 years.
And I geek out on this. I geek out on a lot of stuff, but I geek out on operational efficiency. I geek out on marketing. Those are the two things I love. Our operational efficiency is incredible. Like, that is the benefit. And this is probably the most misunderstood thing about EXP. Like in Canada, it takes sometimes a week, 2 weeks to get paid. You get paid same day. Like our same day transaction close is 90% right now. 90% of transactions are settled and paid within 24 hours. And I think something like 66% of them are same day payment. And so like the efficiencies that are being, like the throttle that they're putting on, how do we make it better? How do we make it better? How do we make it better? First level support. So, like if you ask a question, anywhere in our ecosystem that you have a question, getting that answered at a first level support is happening. Our resolution right now is 93%. So 93% resolution, any problem, whatever it is you have, 63% of that happens at first contact. So I messed that up the other day because I had one that I was pushing back on and I was trying to go up levels because I was like, there's no way I had to set up my company in Oklahoma to do business in Oklahoma. It was easy to do. I didn't realize how easy it was, but I didn't want to do it. But just like our NPS being 77, like we came from this world, right? Like we understood NPS and measured it at every area of the business that businesses that we were operating, and we do that company wide. Like every department.
I didn't realize that was that high.
77, bro. Like that is unheard of.
Listen, guys. Like if you don't like at a company our size to understand it's at 77 is remarkable. If you guys don't understand what Net Promoter Score is, Google the Ultimate Question, go to Ultimate Question 2.0. Bain and Associates did the study back in the 90s. And it was what they determined as to be the only truly survey question that would determine if you would repeat or refer people to do business with your company. And we're talking about Apples of the world in the 40s, the 50s, like
they say to be at a 77 is considered good because you take your detractors, which is 1 through 7, and then you got passive 7 and 8 is passive, 9 and 10 is promoter, and then you divide it. So like a good score is in the 30s, like great is in the 40s. We're in the 70s. Like to have agents happy, are you out of your mind? Like, it's crazy. Like, that really is a testament to Leo and really pushing on operational efficiency and operational excellence, agent focused. Like, that people don't know until they come over. And the statistic, 9.8 agents are coming back to EXP every day. Yeah. That's a lot. But the number one reason that they cited is when you go back to a legacy model and the way things are done, and it would be like going to Blockbuster and picking out a video for you to watch tonight. Like, you're going to do that when you're going to be like, what the hell am I doing? This is so slow. Why don't I just watch it on Netflix? Right? Like, it would never go back to that. But that's what, when agents come back, they're like, I tried. It sounded really good, but I couldn't do it. It's just too slow. Like,
to be clear on what you said, Jay, it was 9 point whatever agents per day coming back that had already been here, left. Yep. They thought the grass was greener.
Yep.
They went to another brokerage, and there's 9 coming back a day.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah. I'm guessing those are productive agents that are coming back.
Right.
I believe the ones that are not coming back, for the most part, not always, are the unproductive agents. They're probably just hanging it up, or they're going to where they can find the cheapest thing to hang their license or whatever.
We went through all the attrition numbers, and it's like 70-80% of the agents sold one home or less. Like, it's the agents that come to produce, they're not going anywhere. And our onboarding right now, 94% onboarded within 24 hours. Like, that's hard remarkable. To do. That's hard to do.
Remarkable. And I think it's a lot of the agents that maybe left maybe for the grass or greener, or they left because of the challenges and the struggles that we fought through, right? And and here's the other thing. Cindy's on here. We were
What's up, Cindy?
Had a great conversation with Cindy last week, kind of sharing the value stack from EXP. So she shared that over and just made me kind of open my eyes up to be like, what I don't know about. I know there's a lot of value there. There's more that we don't even know. She brought up a really important thing. And this was one of my big things. And what Cindy and I were talking about is that you don't realize this until you have your own company and you're paying your own insurance and you're paying your own E&O. And she goes, the thing that she's most thankful for, 25 years at ERA, but the one thing that was just like a heavy lift off of my shoulders to where I didn't have to worry about anymore is thinking about where the next lawsuit's coming from. And until you've been in that role to where you have to pay the insurance, you have to deal with every dang complaint that comes in. And what she was raving about, another part of the value stack, is the legal team at EXP, and they are world class. And she shared story after story after story for her that were, the legal team at EXP had helped her when you do the amount of business like she does. And like a lot of the folks at EXP, it's you sleep better at night knowing that you got good legal protection and legal structure behind you.
100%. Yeah. That's, I want to make a point here too, they went through, they gave us the numbers of where agents the majority agents are coming from, which is Keller Williams, Remax, and Coldwell Banker. And I want to make this point. The agents that we lost, majority last year was Real, Keller Williams, Epic, LPT. Then who knows, wherever to a job is where most of them went to. But the ones that took the most from, so we took on this onslaught of competition that we had never taken, selling on our story. Hey, you come over here, you're going to be the next Brent Gove. It's going to be great. And that's what they were selling on. We survived that. That was something we had never experienced before. The last 2 years we experienced it. Those agents are all going to come back. By the way, spoiler, I'm not going to tell. We can't give you I don't even know if we can say it yet, but I'm going to tell you right now, what's going to happen in 2025 is we are crippling the competition. It's the most strategic move I've seen the company make since I've been here. I'm more excited now than I've been since I first joined EXP. What they're about to roll out, mark my words, is going to destroy our competitors in the cloud-based space. Like our actual, I don't even consider them competitors anymore. It's that big of a deal. And so like y'all have no idea. If you want to reach out to me on a side note, I'll talk to you. But like the people that are catching wind of what's coming are like, this is not really happening. Is this really happening? I'm like, yep, they're doing it.
But I think what I think is going to happen, Jay, is everyone's going to follow and copy because they can.
Of course.
But let me make a really important point. So when we were at 20,000 agents, and, from 12 to 20 to 40 and then 60, 80, it was like trying to keep the wheels between the ditches. Like, it was not easy. There was problems. There were people in key roles that were not the right people that we had to top grade from.
What were you saying? The agent count between what?
I'm just saying, even going from 12 to 20 and then 20 to 40, like that whole space of what got you here won't get you there. And seeing how, just on the sidelines watching, all right, we got 2,000 employees. This is a problem over here. This broker is a problem. We got to fix this. Next thing you know, it's fixed. And, that was fascinating to me. And what I see happening with our competition is they're operating on a fraction of the dollars that we operate on. We got a 16 cap, 12,000 cap at one of our competitors. They're operating on less dollars. They can't go solve problems like that as quickly. They don't have the money to do it. So now you're an agent over there and the sky's falling, which is what's going to feel like for these companies in about a month. And they're not going to be able to take action to solve that problem. It's just a tremendous amount of turmoil and already probably they don't have enough money to go solve all the problems that need to be solved in order to operate efficiently. While we're at scale and we're just adding more value to the value prop. Going back to how you started this this whole podcast, John, we're just adding more value. They can't even solve problems at a pace that and top grade talent fast enough to keep up with managing growth. So they got to slow down growth because growth sucks cash. So it's fascinating. It's going to be interesting to see. I used to think that it would be like a Google Yahoo thing,
and
competitor.
Go
ahead.
I was going to say, I think it's going to be really interesting looking back and being able to see a couple things. One, that this kind of, where we've kind of held with growth for the last 18, 24 months, I think we're going to look back at it as a blessing.
Oh, for sure.
And the reason is that when you look at the lessons of as we were going so fast. So I want to share this with everybody. And this was a very important get from one of our crucial mentors, Clayton Mask. And what Clayton said is 1s and 3s, because what happens is that when you look at, and this is how we operate, you guys, if you're not operating this way, you've got to think through this and through the theory of constraints. It's always, the what, the how, the who. And when you've got a great what and you got a great how, then the constraint is always talent. It's always who's. And so the lesson that Clayton was telling us is that you're going to outgrow your people. And when you grow fast through 1s and 3s, and basically what he's saying is the people that can get you to 3 million, they're probably not going to get you to 10 million. When they can get you to 10 million, they're not going to get you to 30 million. 30 million is not going to get you to 100. 100's not going to get you to 300. Right. And you're going to outgrow people. What was happening is we were growing so fast, we were outgrowing people.
Exactly.
And so once we stagnated on growth, it gave us a chance to breathe for a second, get all of our shit together, get all of our right who's in place to make that next jump. And that's what's happening. That's what we're seeing is exactly we got the right people. So that's, to me, when I see what happened, that was the lesson. We're going to look back and we'll be like, thank God we got to breathe for a second. And we got everything 100%. In place.
Yeah. It's so good, John. Good stuff.
You're right. Which kind of leads into why the hire with Leo being tagged as CEO couldn't have come at a better time.
It was necessary.
Like when you think about 2024, worst year in real estate sales since 95. And let's just sandwich an NAR lawsuit on, the settlement on top of all that. And we had the best leader that we could have possibly at the right time.
Wartime.
And what's cool too is he wasn't new to the company because he was still, he was already in a, I don't know if it was C-level, but yeah, probably C-level leadership. And so he already knew the pulse of the company. He already knew how to work with Glenn well, all those things, bringing someone from the outside would not have been a great move. Man, we got lucky with Leo.
Yeah. Do you know, and this was one of my favorite takes going through, listening to, the Trumps and the Elons leaving up to, on the podcast circuit. And Eric Trump was on the PBD podcast after his dad was on before the election. And he really broke down the entire Trump organization. And you guys listening, I mean, I don't care what you think, what you believe, what side you're on or not. But here's the lesson. He goes, we've had people that have been with our organization for 40 years. When I hear that, I go, leadership is the number one thing, and they believe in loyalty and they promote from within. He goes, one of my favorite things is to take somebody that started out as a busboy. Now they're managing one of our hotels, one of our signature hotels, and they started out as a busboy. He goes, that gives us the most fulfillment. And when you can hire and grow from within and make those moves instead of bringing from the outside, you win. I mean, you just got such a deep bench. And I think no matter what happens to our point with AI, the disruptions, what's going to happen in the next 4, 5, 10, 20 years, leadership will always be leading the way. And when you've got the right leadership and the right people, and you have a set of guiding lights and core values, because what you were talking about was with the core values. Yep. I default back to the decision that's about to roll out, guys. Like, listen, this company does not make decisions unless they run them through the filters of the core values. Yep. Agile, and we do things that make the company even more sustainable.
It's got to be better for the agents.
Yep.
Yeah, dude, yeah, and let's go. This thing that's coming. Like, I didn't see it. I did not see this move. I didn't see it, and it's a testament to Glenn at the helm. Like, when you got a true visionary at the helm that can sit back and be like, how can we make this better? What are all the secondary impacts of making a certain decision, and be like, that's not good. That's not going to serve anyone well. Let's not do it this way. Let's do it this way. And like, so I'm super pumped that that we have the right visionary founder with a vision that's focused on agent, that's obsessed with what's best for the agent. And then operationally having the right CEO that's an absolute dog.
Wartime
CEO.
Wartime.
Execution, focused, maniacal about it. Dude, all in. I love it, man.
And I think his background, man, I think we're seeing.
It's so fun to watch.
It is fun to watch. I think his experience and his background in the REO space, where you have to be wartime playing that game.
Yeah.
Kind of lended into, kind of his philosophy and skill set navigating the waters ahead. And for you guys that don't know, I mean, we're talking about wartime and peacetime generals and leaders. When you're into a headwind, you gotta have a wartime. In a tailwind, like what we saw 2021, 22, you can be a peacetime general and be, kumbaya, lovey-dovey, and less accountability, sliding through the cracks a little bit. But when you're into a headwind, details matter, accountability, execution is everything.
I mean, going back to, we started the conversation out with Gary Keller. He's a wartime CEO.
Yeah,
he's strapped on.
Yes, he
guns.
is.
He's strapped on, the grenades and everything. More than one war that man's fought.
Yes, he has.
Just mad respect for him.
Yeah.
And Dave Liniger. Like, Liniger started Remax in 1973. That was the year I was born. Him and Gail. Man, battles, federal battles. Yeah. Everyone trying
those are the OGs of the industry, man. They rolled out and they took all the arrows and they were like, we doing it this way.
If it wasn't really for those two guys, I don't even know, if EXP would really exist or real or any of these, because they paved the way. Trust me. Yeah. They tried everything. When I say I'm talking about the old legacy models. Right now we're saying that potentially they're a legacy model, right? But the old legacy models did everything. They conspired to keep them out of the market and did everything. And when you talk about arrows, Dave Liniger, when he had really long hair, the reason, I don't know if everybody knows this, but he had a ponytail. The reason is because he swore he would not cut his hair till he won the federal trial against Realty One and Smythe Kramer here in Cleveland, Ohio. He was in federal court battling it out, and he won. And talk about a strategist. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Trump and how he's negotiating these big things, right? Like, Dave went in, rented out every hotel room in the closest hotel room to the federal court building so that the other legal team could not stay there for this long trial. They had to stay miles away, and it was cold. Like, just these moves, right? Like, I'll be honest with you. That is exactly why I joined Remax in 2007, was because I'm like, I'm following that dude into fucking battle. That's the guy I'm following, Dave. Because, so Yeah, we'll see. It's fun to watch all this and see, but they definitely took it, and I'm just excited about. Yeah, I'm excited to see this announcement in about 30 days or so. It's going to change the game. I do believe it's actually just like other companies when they came along and gave us some competition and started making us improve our model. Yep. All this is going to do, it's going to force. It's a chess move. I don't know that they can't not like follow suit with it because it's freaking brilliant. And if they stay, I hope they do, because it's going to make it a lot easier for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Fellows, amazing conversation. Really, truly what the whole One Big Fire conversation podcast really embodies and all about. And, appreciate you guys tuning into us. Lock it in. I mean, we come live, 12:15 Eastern every Tuesday. So lock that in, and love to see you guys continue to join us. Push and promote the show. We typically have a guest in with us, but we had the opportunity, the three of us get to chop it up today, which is always fun. I know we've got some guests, some rock stars lined up in the coming weeks. So lock this into your calendar, set a reminder, and make sure to stay tuned in. Also,
if for no other reason, to see, Jay's jersey collection continue to grow every podcast we do.
Pretty epic.
It's gotten a little out of control here.
Pretty epic.
My wife's like, what? She's like, I love you, you redneck. I was like, what? And she's like, you got these, like, at least get better hangers. I was like, I'm not displaying these for anybody else. This is for me. I don't know. Nobody's get on my podcast all the time. Like, they're all over the place. I'm about to get them all framed. Then I don't know what I'm going to do with them.
Pretty freaking epic. All right, guys, check out honeybadgernation.com. Anything that you need for us, we're there. It's the number one go-to resource for everything that we do around the Honey Badger Nation, honeybadgernation.com. And hit us up. We'll see you guys next time. Appreciate you. Later.